Watching news at Prime, let's bring you this conversation now. This month marks the 32nd anniversary since the assassination of former SACP leader Chris Hani. Janusz, Walus and Clive Lewis were jailed for the shooting, which took place at the driveway of the family home in Boksburg. Let's talk more now about the commemorations for the late struggle fighter. And we speak to Mama Limpho Hani, the widow of Chris Hani. Mama Limpho, good evening to you and thank you very much for your time.
Good evening and good evening to your listeners.
It's good to have you in studio this evening. Let's start with this year being 32 years since the assassination of your husband and father to your children. What is planned for him and how are those preparations going thus far?
Thank you, Xoli. I have decided with the Hani family that we are going to move this year's commemoration to his village called Xoli Mngambi in the Eastern Cape. And I'm glad that I'm here so that I can inform South Africans who have supported me from the day Chris died. I would like to say to you and to your listeners, Chris Hani was a national leader. So as a national leader, we can have this commemoration anyway. Yes. He wasn't a municipality leader. However, the most important reason why we decided, I'm the leader of this, I'm the elderly person in the Hani family.
Yes.
All the Hani family from Chris's home, I'm not talking of extended family members, but his direct family. We thought we owe ancestors, we are black, remember that? We owe the ancestors to say, we are here today to celebrate your son's commemoration with you. And also, I owe them an explanation. Commemoration of my husband has been held in Joburg for more than 30 years.
Yes.
And people all over South Africa would have wanted to attend. But because people don't have money, they can't afford to drive here or go into buses. But I thought it's important for me to take it back to where he was born, yeah. He grew up, he learned about politics because of the suffering of that community.
And the family in Xoli Mngambi, what did they say when they learned of this decision?
They were so excited. I'm the best sister, auntie. Like I say, I'm the only elderly person in the Hani family.
Yes.
Direct Chris's family. I'm not talking of relatives. I'm talking of his brother's children. They are very excited. Even the comrades in the Eastern Cape that I spoke to, they are excited. The comrades in general, they are excited. My cousins are over the moon. They say that's the best thing that I've ever done since my husband died.
The municipality of Ekurhuleni, they have always been the ones who organize this. Is it assumed that they will form part and parcel of this organizing that this be held in Xoli Mngambi this time around?
The municipality doesn't own my husband, but there was a resolution passed in 1994. At that time, Comrade Gwede Mantashe and Comrade Eric Kaya, who was the mayor then, came with a motion that the 10th of April should always be celebrated every year on the 10th. That was the resolution. And the resolution was supported by all political parties then. Yeah. However, like I said, my husband is not a municipality leader. He's a national leader. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't owe them any explanation.
Yeah.
I'm doing the right thing as a black woman, as a black widow.
Let's talk about the events of December 2024. Janusz Walus was deported from South Africa to his home country of Poland. Is this something that you and your family have made peace with?
I can't say, Xoli, you don't make peace. When your loved one gets murdered in that way, you don't find peace. You just get used to the idea that he's not around. Peace is not the right word, I think.
Yeah.
Because we act differently to pain. So I wouldn't say we have made peace. What I would say is we are getting used to the idea. However, where my gripe is, at the Constitutional Court, we, SACP and myself, through our lawyers, told Mr. Zondo that Walus is not remorseful. But Zondo said to me, I never answered the letter where Walus was asking for forgiveness for killing my husband. But guess what? My God loves me. He went back to Holland, and you all watched the video. What did he say? He said, if you were to give him a chance, he would kill my husband again. So, Xoli, in your program, I would love you to invite Judge Zondo to come and tell us if we tell him, the majority of us, but he decides that Walus is remorseful. He's got an egg on his face. I feel sorry for him. I really feel sorry for him because that was a bad judgment for somebody who is in that position. It's embarrassing, to be honest.
Talking about peace, your daughter, Lindiwe,
yes,
has done interviews, and she's even written a book about being Chris Hani's daughter. And for her to find peace, she writes that she had to meet with Janusz Walus. And that for her was her way of accepting this that has happened and perhaps finding peace. How would you say she took the news that Janusz Walus was saying this, that if given the opportunity, he would do it again?
She was devastated. But I said to her, guess what? I've been right all along. But that was for Lindy to go and see this Walus, for her to write the book about her pain. I think it was a way of dealing with the loss of her father. Remember when Chris died, when he was shot? He didn't die, he was shot. Lindy was only 12 years old. She was a baby. So Walus, even his silly excuse of saying, I asked for forgiveness for killing Lindy's father and not as a communist party. What type of remorse is that? Maybe Zondo can explain. He knows better English as a legal person. Maybe you could explain. So I don't want to get involved. I support my child 100%. She was correct to deal with her pain in the manner which she dealt with it. So I'm fine with it. But I'm talking about myself.
Yes.
Days are not the same. There are days when I'm fine, but there are days when, I'm going to be blunt, I get so angry. So angry in the sense that the judiciary system in South Africa have to be revamped. I'll give you a silly, it's a serious example. I kill you now, okay? I go to court, sentenced for life, and within a year I'm out of prison. Why can't this country change the law and tell these judiciary people that if a person has killed somebody else, their sentence should say, we sentence you to life without parole. But it suits the judiciary because they seem to be siding with criminals from where I'm sitting. And this is free South Africa. I've got the right to say how I feel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
At some point, we will get the opportunity to talk to the judiciary, and there's a new leader at the helm of that judiciary. Because I suspect they will argue that they follow the laws that are made. But I'd like to make this be about the Hani family and indeed yourself. Let's talk immediately after that decision to send Walus to Poland. The SACP renewed calls for government to institute an inquiry which would hopefully unmask the plotters who plotted this assassination. Has there been any response from government on that call?
I would like to correct you, Xoli. The statement of December came from, if you can go back to the statement, it came from the Hani family and the SACP. So what is in that statement? We discussed it.
Yes.
As a family and the SACP. And we all agreed that in the absence of justice in my case, we would request this government to do an inquest. A letter was written to the president, and the last time I checked, the SACP got an acknowledgement. So I don't know how government systems work. So I don't know whether the president is still consulting, then he'll respond. Yeah. However, there are lots of families, Xoli, you know that, who have been given that opportunity of inquest. Let me tell you one of the reasons why I think we need an inquest. When my husband was shot, there were two people. One was in the neighbor's garden at the corner. They found a tin of Fanta and a butt of cigarette. Comrade Matthew Posa is my witness. But what the apartheid, remember we are not yet independent.
Yes.
We are still under apartheid. But what the apartheid did under de Klerk, they focused on Walus. And that man who shot, if you go there, that hole is still there. He shot at an angle. That lead was never followed by apartheid government. So from where we are sitting, if that lead, that means the person who shot from an angle is still alive. So the inquest will help me and many South Africans to have closure. I don't have closure because I still don't know the truth. So an inquest will give me closure, and everybody else and my family and my children.
And so for you, the plotters, the people who planned this, it was not just Clive W. Lewis, who's dead now, and Walus, who's back in his home country. There are other people who plotted this. Why is this strong belief? I understand.
It's not a belief, it's a fact. We went to court. I was in court. And Walus was nothing but an assassin. Debbie Lewis was nothing but, I have to be polite, I'm on TV, a go-between. The person who has information is Debbie Lewis' wife. That's why the inquest, before we all die, the sooner the inquest is done, the better. Number two, the gun that shot my husband is from the South African Defence Force. And of course, the apartheid government had no interest to follow that up. So this is bigger than what we see. So an inquest would assist all of us to have closure.
Former
so
President
it's
Zuma,
not, it's a fact. I was in court.
Former President Zuma attempted, I suppose, to talk to your husband's killers. Do you think that he perhaps could have gone a bit far, or should have gone the distance? You
know, there's so much fake news in South Africa. So the former President Zuma has never told me that he saw Debbie Lewis, he saw Walus. So I'm not in a position to say he met them, because he never told me I can't say what they discussed. I wasn't there. He has never told me. So on that one, I can't comment on it because I don't have facts. I normally need to deal with facts, not hearsay.
I want to close the conversation, and I want to close it on this score. It's an open-ended question. With all that we've discussed, the two people mainly that were involved here, that were ultimately convicted, the murderers, Clive W. and Walus, they're not here right now. Is there hope that the truth will ever be unearthed?
You know what we need in South Africa is political will. With the inquest, the truth can be found, but we need political will. And unfortunately, I'm not influential. I have to join the queue of everybody who wants inquiry on the life of the lost, on their relatives who have been murdered. So with the inquest, Xoli, I think the truth will come out. That's what we need. So we need our leaders to have a political will or have the presence of mind to say, as South Africans, we need to know the truth. It's all about the truth, nothing else.
Limpho Hani, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Xoli, for giving me the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like for you to remain there while I link to a break. All right, Limpho Hani, the widow of the late SACP leader, Chris Hani. Let's take a break. When we return, we'll bring you more news.